Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. We're talking playoff baseball. What? We're talking playoff baseball. You got exactly what you wanted, okay? And I say that because we put up a Twitter poll asking the people, would you rather see, and this is before everything was completed, would you rather see the Braves? Would you rather see the Mets? Or would you rather see the St. Louis Cardinals? And an overwhelming majority, about 80+%, said, let's go to St. Louis and let's take care of business. Now, is that because there's a big-time fear in what happened throughout the regular season against the Mets? Let's go over it, shall we? Series loss, series loss, series loss, series loss. It was miserable. So was there a sense of the team maybe feeling, this is how the fans maybe viewed it, the team would feel that they are defeated before first pitch even occurred, while you look at what happened against St. Louis? And I'll give you some statistics, okay? Wheeler and Nola versus Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. 16 for 72, which is a .222 batting average, 0 home runs and 14 strikeouts. So they're top dogs against your top dogs on the bump. You feel pretty good about that. Now let's factor in Eflin, who is no longer a starter, but more of your late inning, big time, we need a huge inning in the 8th inning or so type of dude. I don't know how they're going to use him. Is it possible Alvarado is an 8th inning, Eflin's an 9th inning? I wouldn't do that personally. But I just watched them use Eflin to close against Houston. Is that part of their mentality? If there's a certain lineup or a certain stretch of a lineup that has lefties and it's a better position to go with Alvarado, if that's how they feel, I'm just spitballing. I'm just throwing things at the wall to see how it sticks. I prefer Eflin being more set up. But even Zach Eflin's number, okay, against Paul Goldschmidt, 2 for 12, 4 Ks, 0 home runs. Nolan Arenado, 4 for 17, 0 home runs. So let's have at it. Let's go win a damn series. Here's my thing, right? Because this is really the question. Can they win 2 of 3 on the road in that type of environment? Do they have the team that can do it? Yeah, they can. The problem is this team is very inconsistent. You go from not scoring enough runs and not getting timely hits when actually getting players in position to score to being explosive. We don't know what version of the team is going to show up. So if you ask me, is it in that clubhouse? Is there enough talent in the clubhouse? Absolutely. No doubt about it. You don't win 87 games by being a scrub. And it's even more magnificent that when they turned the season around, they were able to go from where they were with Joe Girardi to those 87 wins. So there's something to it. I just know for all the good games, there's the games where Rhys Hoskins does not field a ground ball over at first base, which keeps an inning alive, which forces the starting pitcher to throw a couple more pitches, maybe more than just a couple. I do know that there's the games where Alec Boehm can't field a ground ball or make a throw. I know that there's plenty of games where there's a ball out in the outfield that unfortunately just drops in front of somebody because they can't see it or something along those lines. I've seen plenty of balls where Castellanos doesn't get a good jump on it. And now it's a ball that maybe a normal right fielder makes at a routine level, but it's over his head and he's leaping and he's jumping and he doesn't look very fundamentally sound. And we go, what the hell? This is terrible. Maybe Bryson Stott has a hiccup and he overthrows the first baseman and it hits a cameraman. That stuff happens too. So I don't know what team we're going to get. And if that's a cop-out answer, I apologize. But I'm just being honest on how I feel. They can also win a ball game 2-0. After a Kyle Schwarber bomb, Zack Wheeler goes 8 or goes 7 1/3, and the bullpen cleans up the rest of the job, and all you need is 1 or 2 runs. All you need is maybe 1 home run. Kyle Schwarber walks, Rhys Hoskins hits a shot to left field, and people at Busch are pissed off. Trust me, I don't want to bring up bad memories and bad times, but there was a 1 bloody nil game that occurred against this same damn team to rip our hearts out. So that's on the table. I'm fascinated, though, to see what they look like. How do they rise to the occasion? I don't know where they would be without Kyle Schwarber, though. They lost 10 of 13 in September. That's garbage. Yet how ironic, Kyle Schwarber's bat seems to go off and stop the bleeding to get them in. Whether it's 2 in 1 game or whatever the case is. The dude is ridiculous. And you heard Dave Dombrowski on the broadcast the other night mention that he hasn't been around a guy in the clubhouse like a Kyle Schwarber before. I mean, it just speaks volume on how large. It's even bigger than I thought, and I already knew how massive it was. Part of me being upset in September was the fact that I didn't even think that Schwarber could fill all the holes in the issues with how they are prepared and the way that they, are just broken in that clubhouse. Because I think they are broken without Kyle Schwarber in that clubhouse. Now, he had enough to get them there. There's still a lot of problems that Dave needs to attack in the offseason. But I'm really just focusing on the appreciation of what Kyle Schwarber does. Imagine this, right? Because I'm sure before the game in Houston, when they clinched that playoff berth, Kyle Schwarber had something to say about it. We're going to go do this. This is the night. Let's go, fellas. And what's he do to set the tone? I'm sure when they got embarrassed against the Washington Nationals, and that game was putrid to the point where I tweeted, I don't give a damn if this team moves to Montreal. What happens? How does he set the tone early? He's a tone setter. It's magnificent. He knows how to get to October. He knows how to play in October. It's incredible. He's a big piece of the pie, that's for sure. What's Bryce Harper going to look like? He doesn't look himself. I mean, let's be honest. Bryce Harper's playing bad baseball. Him getting hot would take this team to the next level. And he's not a bad baseball player. He's playing bad baseball. That's 2 different things. One thing I hold my hat on with him, though, is some guys, it takes more than 1 at bat. They lie. They say it takes 1 swing. 1 swing and I'll be all right. If I see one ball put in the gap, I'll be fine. Yeah, okay, you say that. It's not true. With Bryce, it is true. I think he's lying about the health, though. Although it has been a while now with the surgery and all and the recovery. So at this point, he probably is feeling a lot better than maybe he was when he first returned with everything and he was battling through it. He said he wouldn't be back, though, unless he was 100% incapable of playing. I don't think he's living up to that quote. But here we are. And if you're in the lineup, I need you. But as much as you might think you need Bryce to win, I don't think that's necessarily true. That's a positive and a negative. The negative is you paid that man $330 million. You would expect for him to have the answers when the lights are shining bright, when it's the biggest stage, when it's October and it's cold, and you finally got in after breaking a big streak for this franchise. You would think that that's the guy that you would look up to in those spots. Now, here's the positive. You have other people. You are built where it can be someone else. It could be Stott. It could be JT. We took a caller on the Fanatic yesterday, and he was talking about, okay, he feels fine. Wheeler versus Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. Those are the only 2 that feared that individual. Okay, if that's what you think, fine. There's some other players on that team, but if those are their workhorses and their power horses, if you will, their team identity, their brand goes through those 2, and you feel fine about it. If you look at the flip side, they have guys like Stott. Stott's not on that level. Who's that right now for the Phillies? I'll give you 2 guys. It's Kyle Schwarber and it's JT Realmuto. So if it's 2-2, I don't know how comfortable the Cardinals feel about facing those 2 in particular. Does it even out? And that's when the Bryce Harper stepping up could possibly be the difference when weighing out. There's a lot more to it than just that. That's more simplifying it. But I'm just telling you, like, when I ask you, who do you feel most comfortable with? If there was the biggest at-bat in the game, it's the 8th inning, there's guys on second and third for the fight-ins, and there's 2 outs, who do you want up there? It's either Kyle Schwarber or JT. If you say Bryce, you're lying to yourself. If you say anybody else, I don't want to hear Bohm. I don't want to hear Segura. I don't want to hear Castellanos. I don't want to hear any of that trash. It's 2 guys. So we need to, see how they're going to function throughout. Is Bohm going to come up bigger than expected? Is he going to make a play by the foul territory with his glove? For all the hair pulling plays, the ones that make you want to rip your hair out, there's excellent ones, too, where he charges the ball and makes a nice throw on the run. Which one shows up? Is Bohm going to show us a home run? Oh, man. Could you imagine in a playoff game on the road, his body frame actually produces that type of power? That would be lovely. I'm excited, though. It's a test. Are they playing with house money to a level, to a degree? And I don't want this to sound as if I don't feel good about the team. I think they have enough to win 2 out of 3 on the road against this team. I think mentally they're way more confident in this matchup than maybe they would be against the Mets. So I think they can. I just know that they're hot or cold. They're a hot or cold team on any given night. And you can't run away from that. The best part about it is the 2 guys on the bump, like, I feel that good. If I look for how they're going to win and I tell you Wheeler wins you the game, oh, yeah, I mean, I could put money down behind that. I'd put a lot of money down behind that. He's never been in the postseason, but he doesn't seem the one to shy away from that. Like, I'd be stunned if he struggles and goes 4 2/3, and then they have to really grind out bullpen. I don't even know what you would do at that point. I don't trust Sir Anthony. I don't trust David Robertson. I'd be looking at Falter. I'd be looking at Bellotti, which makes me sick. Just to be honest with you, makes me sick. But yeah, I don't expect that to happen. But yeah, I mean, that's a recipe for success. You're starting pitching. We were just always assuming when you built the roster the way that you did that they would be a softball team. They're really not a softball team. It's a weird squad to analyze. There's a lot of teams out there by now. If I asked you what's their brand and what's their identity as a team, you know. You know who the Atlanta Braves are. You don't know who the Mets are, which is kind of hysterical because their fans were flaunting in your face forever and ever and ever throughout the summer times, and they still don't know after they get their asses swept by the Braves in Atlanta and they lost the division. But you know who the Braves are. You know who the Cardinals are. You know who the Dodgers are. You know who the Houston Astros are. You know. If I asked you, who are the Phillies? How do they win games? It's weird, right? You would like to think it was your offense that carried you. It really wasn't. There were guys that had hot months and hot stretches where a guy would carry you. Edmundo Sosa carried you. Kyle Schwarber early carried you. He had one big month that was ridiculous. Bohm carried you. JT carried you. But it wasn't the team. It was just a guy at that given time, which is great. I'm here asking questions. So do you have that guy win you a series? If that's their brand identity, a guy, then is it Schwarber on Friday afternoon? Is it Schwarber on Saturday night? I hate the timing of game one, by the way. Oh, man, full disclosure. It's at 2:07. I'll be working on The Fanatic from 2 to 6 p.m., doing the best show ever with Tyrone Johnson, Jen Scordo, and myself. Ricky Bowe will be doing a lot of the Phillies pre- and post-game stuff at that time. We do have a TV in the studio where we're going to be watching the game while doing the radio show. And then after that, I have a wedding. So my plan is to record either Friday night after the wedding or early Saturday morning. It sucks. It sucks. Sometimes life blows, though, and this is me experiencing that when it comes to timing. Anything else would have been significantly better. 1 would have been better. 4 would have been better. 8 would have been better. They gave me 2. It is what it is, though. We'll make sure we get through it. We'll make sure we get through it. I keep hearing this, though, too, and we're going to take some anytime hotline calls in a second. If they lose game 1, they probably lose game 2. Not if Aaron Nola pitches like he did against Houston, okay? And I don't want to hear that, well, Houston was not engaged and they didn't feel like really competing. They weren't locked in as much as they normally would. These guys are professional athletes. I'm sure Jose Altuve was trying to hit the baseball when he's in the batter's box. All right, I'm sure Alvarez was trying to smash a bomb. I'm sure these guys were trying to go yard. Like, when you're in the batter's box and it's 1v1, your instincts just take over. Aaron Nola was that nasty. He's never been in a playoff spot either. I have faith in him this season, though. He's been a different Aaron Nola this year. He changed a lot of controversy surrounding the $16 million club option. Is it worth having him and Reese, guys who lose, guys are accustomed to not making the postseason year after year? Do you want that smell in your clubhouse? Well, after he shined with the backs against the wall or with the chance to go win and earn a playoff position, he goes perfect. And so he didn't, but he went perfect for a long period of time. Like, if Nola throws like that, why can't they win game 2 if they lose game 1? Of course they can. So I think that's silly. I also think it's silly to try and get cute and go Wheeler, Ranger, Nola, because there's been some debates out there. And I'm not telling you that what happened with Ranger Suarez when he was hungover as hell in Houston has any sort of negative effect on me when speaking about Ranger, because I'm not making this statement because of that outing. It should be Wheeler, Nola, Ranger. The argument is, if you win game 1, and this is all predicated off if you win game 1, you could try and get Aaron Nola. If it does go to 3, you have him for the final frame. Or if you win in 2 with Ranger on the bump, then he could be set up for game 1 in the NLDS. I think we got to take it one series at a time here and not try and get too... I think that's overthinking a bit. Now, granted, that's part of managing. You always have to be 3 steps ahead. But at the same time, I don't want to overlook what's right in front of you. And right now, I mean, if you tell me you win this series, then lose in the DS, come on now. That's a phenomenal season. It is. I mean, as much as I hated them during September, that would be a phenomenal season. I don't think the difference in winning the DS or not is Nola pitching game 1. They probably lose regardless on who's starting, just to be fair. Would that give you a better position to win? Sure. But the way they're pitching is, they're built for a 3-gamer. I don't think they're built for much more than a 3-gamer right now. That's on Dave Dombrowski to pull some strings when it becomes winter. So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I think they can win. Do I think they will win? I can't say that. I'm sorry. I don't have an answer for you, which I know sounds stupid. I know you come here, how's Broach feel? I don't know what version of the team we're getting. If we get the good version, absolutely. They're so up and down. They're so crazy. No. I'm intrigued. A lot of these guys haven't been here. It's almost like, okay, do they feel relieved that they got in, that now the piano is off their back so they could go play loose and have fun? Or is the moment so big, it's like, whoa, this is a different type of beast. And then some guys crumble. I don't know. I don't expect that to happen. I'm just looking at it. All right. Anytime hotline, let's take some calls. Here we go.
What's up, bros? I'm so happy the Phillies made the postseason. It was honestly awesome. When I think about this upcoming 2 seasons, I hate to say it, but it's all on pitching. I think if our pitchers tend to do well, and I say like 4 to 5 runs in these 2 games combined, I think we'll have a good shot at winning the series or sweeping. But yeah, it all comes down to the starting pitching and the relief pitching. If they can shut down our offense, I think we'll be okay, because St. Louis is good for the pitching too.
Well, okay, so I think it's interesting you bring up the pitching. I think you're right with that. It does stem with the pitching, and that's how every team it goes. But it's weird because let me ask you this. If we were talking early in the season, let's say it's March, April, it's May, and we're like having a fun barroom conversation. We're putting back cold Miller Lights, and we're clanking them at the bar as we get our 9th round. And I go, yo, dude, all right, think about this. We're in the playoffs. We're on the road. We're going to St. Louis. How would you imagine this team winning? What would you say? 4 home runs, you'd win 7-3, you'd have to outscore them and get into these high scoring matches. You talk about shootouts all the time in football. How do you beat Pat Mahomes? How do you beat these high offensive power teams? Oh, that's weird. You have to outscore them. Well, the Phillies would be a team where other squads go, how do you beat the Phillies? You're going to have to outscore them. Well, no, not really. Now, you can make the argument that you'd rather, at this time of the year, rely on pitching than the bats. Like, I feel more comfortable if I'm relying on starting pitching and Zack Wheeler, and I'm just going to give you these strong names, right? Justin Verlander. When you're talking about the top of the top of the top, I prefer feeling like I'm in a relaxing chair watching the game with those fellas and put my money on those fellas than a bat that can go through a 2-week stretch of really awful swings, not seeing pitches well, and swinging at stuff in the dirt. It's just not how I thought it would go. So it's on your pitching. It is. And you'll know real early. Inning 1, inning 2, you'll see in Zack Wheeler. If there's a couple hard hit balls, a couple guys on base, needs a double play ball to get out of some stuff, it's like, all right, not that he can't grind through it. I've seen Zack Wheeler grind through 6 where guys still got on, and pretty much one of his latest outings. And they pulled him too early to go to Connor Brogdon. I don't anticipate that being the issue when it's playoffs. That was really, which is what I think, and I hope, and I pray, that was more just because of where they were at with the regular season ending and working his pitch count, even though they didn't even pitch him as many or throw him as many pitches as I thought he would be able to throw. But, yeah, I'm with you, though. It stems from the starters. And you'll know Wheeler, if he goes 1-2-3, 1-2-3, and gets back around the lineup and gets the top of the guys out again, and you see a cool, calm Zack Wheeler walking back to the dugout after a strike 3 called, pinned on the outside part of the dish, you go, yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Look, definitely a better matchup for the Phillies with the Cardinals as opposed to the Mets. You have to be encouraged that Wheeler gets the ball in his regular turn in the rotation. Tough to win on the road, especially 2 out of 3, and all 3 games are there. But I focus my attention in this series on one guy, and that's Bryce Harper. He was brought in to get this team to the playoffs, and he was brought in to emerge come postseason. So I think the spotlight is on him. I think Bryce Harper is the key to this series. Can he carry the Phillies? Can he help produce runs? Give Wheeler some runs to work with on Friday? I have no prediction as to how the series will go, but again, definitely a better matchup for the Phillies as opposed.
All right, so I cut you off. I apologize. So with Bryce Harper, I'm starting to believe, while he's a phenomenal baseball player, if you told me you get a guy who's going to hit 290, hit a lot of bombs when healthy, and knock in some RBIs throughout the regular season. He was NL MVP last season, and he didn't even make the All-Star game, so he really had the hot second stretch to put himself in that position. He's a damn good baseball player that I want on my team compared to not having on my team. But I think he's a guy like you. You need to build around anybody. Mike Trout is one of the best players we will ever see, and he can't do it out in Los Angeles by himself. So there are plenty of examples on why you need others. But I just think that with Bryce Harper, you need more around him than maybe you would have anticipated when signing that big contract. That doesn't mean he's a waste. It doesn't mean that he's not good. Right now, he's not playing good. But overall, there's still a lot that he brings to the table that benefits you more than it hurts you. I just now am realizing that you need more guys like Schwarber around Bryce Harper than I thought. And I'll just lay this out. This isn't a perfect example of just something so you can visualize. Let's say with Harper, I thought maybe you needed 3 guys around him. 2 guys around him that know winning baseball. Let's say 2. Well, maybe you need 4 or 5. Maybe that's what it is, which tells me a lot about other things of Bryce than just the game, even though I know Sean just specifically brought up his ABs. But, yeah, I mean, that's the difference that can separate you. If I think they could win with Kyle Schwarber and JT swinging the way that they are, if Zack Wheeler shines, well, Bryce Harper can give you that 3-run separation instead of winning by 1 run. When you're in the 9th, if you're up 3-2, maybe it's 5-2 if Bryce Harper shows up. So I believe that could be the difference in a heavier separation, but I don't know if that's the difference in winning or losing this game. It very well can be, though. It's tied. Bryce is up. Guys on third. Pop up. Later in the game, same situation. Man on third, 2 outs, strikes out. Yeah, that could happen. That could happen. He doesn't look right. He's not driving the ball. So, it's all very circumstantial, but it's sad that these are our thoughts about Bryce right now. But it's real. It's real.
Bros, I was in 3rd grade the last time the Phillies made the playoffs. 3rd grade! And now I get to see him for the first time in 11 years? Oh my God. I don't even know how this feels. I don't even know how this feels. And Kyle Schwarber, what a leader he is. Like, he's going up to the plate and he's hitting 2 runs a game. Oh, and for the second time in a few days. Oh my God. And Bryce is not. The ball's on that guy. Oh my God. I can't wait. I can't wait. I've always wanted to get into baseball more, but the team's never really been allowed me to do it. And here I am, and I'm pumped. Let's go, Phils.
That's awesome, man. That really is cool. That, there's a lot of people out there growing up who don't know what this is like. They don't know this experience. They haven't felt this fun before, and now the Phillies provided it for us. So it's on them to make it last longer, right? It's on them to expand this maybe even a little bit further than just this weekend. Yeah, that's crazy, right? I never really thought about that yet. It hasn't hit me yet because I've been so focused on the game, but it's possible our Phillies season could be over on Saturday night, just a couple days away, which, that's terrible. It's terrible. As Maxey scoring 40-plus points in 4 quarters of preseason hoops. Oh, man. I brought that up because we're just kind of moving along, right? The Flyers are going to lose 1 billion games, and before you know it, the Super Bowl is going to be happening. We're going to be down Broad Street just spitballing. All right. I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me. I'm pretty excited to watch this thing and to see how they perform. This is going to be a difference maker in the tone on the offseason. You could lose this series, and I could live with it. But you better give me everything you have. I want to see hard, tough, fought baseball. And then at the end of it, if you lose 5-4 game 1 and you played good ball and the other team just outworked just a little bit, they got the home field advantage, they're better than you too. Like, I could be satisfied with losing a series. If you go to game 3, you go to extra innings, you're battling, right? Like, you lose in the 8th inning, it's tough, it's 6-4, whatever it is, there's a home run involved, you were up 4-3, 3-run shot, it rips your heart, but it's game 3 in the 8th, and you left everything out there on the diamond. Very possible. If you get bent over and you look like the Eagles did against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though I thought that was set up for more failure than this series is, you could also make the argument that could be a blessing in disguise, because I don't think the Eagles act the same way in the offseason. They didn't see the same level of disparity if they were involved in that game. Right? I mean, I think that moved Howie Roseman to go make everything he did. Hassan Reddick, Bradbury, Jordan Davis, attack that side of the ball. Kaiser White, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. We need to get significantly better defensively. Well, can the same thing happen with Dave Dombrowski? At this point, though, I think you should already see what it is. You need more winners. You need more clubhouse guys, Trey Turners, like Dansby Swanson. He knows how to win. You need stuff like that. I don't need a blowout loss to St. Louis to tell me what I need with my baseball team. And I don't think Dave Dombrowski does either. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I love you. Remember, Friday night, Saturday morning, I don't know exactly how it's going to play out yet. It stings for me. It's the last thing I wanted to do, but that's just kind of where we are with the schedule. Thank you guys all so much, and I will catch you on the next one.